Thanks for joining us once again. Now, President Akufo-Addo has admitted cost of food has gone up and no longer affordable for a lot of Ghanaians. He's been speaking at the 68th New Year School underway at the University of Ghana, Legon.
Agriculture continues to be the anchor of the country's economy, employing almost half of our workforce. However, in the last few years, growth in this sector has declined dramatically. Food is unnecessarily expensive in a country that is blessed with fertile land. Our production methods are not modern, and income levels of farmers and fisherfolk remain low, making this sector unattractive to the youth as a viable means of livelihood. Ladies and gentlemen, government's vision for the next 4 years is to modernize agriculture, improve production efficiency, achieve food security and profitability for our farmers, all aimed at significantly increasing agricultural productivity. Government will pursue a value addition strategy aimed at rapidly ramping up agro-processing and developing new and stable markets for our products. Our policies and interventions will encompass the full agricultural value chain and create additional businesses and job opportunities in the areas of storage, transport, processing, packaging, and marketing of agricultural produce, all of which will ensure that our farmers and fisherfolk earn higher incomes. District assemblies and traditional authorities will be assigned specific roles in agricultural development, and we will adopt policies specifically targeted at supporting women in agriculture. I'm happy to see representatives of all stakeholders in the agricultural sector working together to discuss and explore innovative solutions to turn around the fortunes of farmers through the sustained use of ICT in agriculture. It is clear that ICTs have brought to the fore new ways of doing things. Given the rapid penetration of ICT in our society today, particularly the use of mobile telephony, there's the realization that ICT should be integrated to be effectively used as facilitating tools in agricultural development to boost its impact on the lives of our farmers. ICTs provide easier access to markets and information resources, and I have no doubt that if this is mainstream into our agricultural practices, productivity within the sector will be increased to ensure that not only will farmers' incomes increase, but also the nation's food security will be guaranteed.
So we had the President Akufo-Addo talking about the high cost of food items on the market. We'll have on the line the General Secretary of the Ghana Agricultural Workers Union, I beg your pardon, Edward Karewe. He's on the line now to speak to us about what the president has been saying. Now, Mr. Karewe, thanks for joining us. President talking about the high cost of food prices on the market. From your perspective, what do you think is driving the cost of food items?
Yeah, good evening to you all. Well, the price of foodstuffs in the market is cyclical. You know, we have the lean season, and then we have the harvesting season. So, and again, it also depends on the particular foodstuff. But generally, during the lean season, prices of agricultural produce go up.
All right. We've also heard the president talk about the productivity levels. How much of that is an impact, do you think?
Well, I think given the structure of agricultural production, where we are having low technological, methods of production, agricultural output is low, and if it is low, certainly it will lead to high cost of the price of it in the market.
All right, and we've also heard the president talk about modernizing agriculture in the country. Do you think that is a solution?
Well, certainly, if we are not happy about the state of agriculture today and the methods of production, then certainly we need to modernize it. And as it stands now, we all are aware that some of the methods used where we still depend more on hoes and cutlasses, apart from the fact that it is tedious and it's cumbersome to use them, it does not attract the youth into agriculture. And so modernization of agriculture will give it a new face, and then it will make it attractive for the youth and for those who either to do not see it or have to run away from it because of its outmoded methods of production to go back to it.
Okay, so what other solutions do you suggest should be looked at? For instance, we've heard the president also talk about the introduction of new technology to boost productivity.
Well, the technologies will depend on crop by crop because not all of them will be appropriate for everything. If you have a technology for the production of tomatoes, for instance, that technology will be different from a technology for the production of rice. So you have to pick crop by crop, subsector by subsector, and look at the appropriate technologies that will be needed and applied it. And beyond that, we just need to have market for agricultural produce. One of the biggest challenges for agriculture is that it is difficult to predict the market at the point of production. You are left to some guesses. You are left to the after production to see whether there will be market or not. Because that market, which is already there, the domestic market, is taken over by cheap imports of agricultural produce from outside the country. So it will also require some class of policies to address the market access challenge for agricultural produce within the country.
All right, Edward Caraway, he is the General Secretary of the General Agric Workers Union. Thanks very much for your time. And it appears it's not just food prices going up, petroleum prices are also going up. The Institute of Energy Security has said that it expects the prices of petroleum products to go up marginally by between 1% and 2% as the second pricing window for the month of January opens today. Now, the first pricing window saw the margin shoot up between 9 and 11% in what the IES described as unfair on the part of oil marketing companies. Let's get some further explanations now from the Principal Research Officer of the IES, Richmond Roxon.
And now diesel has gone up by about 18%, and petrol has also gone up by about 21%. When you look at our dollar rate, the dollar depreciated by around 3%. Initially, it was about 4.1. 4.2. Now we're looking at 4.3 for the dollar as well. Price of Platts has also gone up by 3%. That's for petrol, and by 1.3%. That's for the diesel as well. When you look at the price of crude oil, it's also gone up by about 1%. Putting all this together, when you are guided by the fundamentals, you expect the price to go up by around 1 to 2%. The 1.5 to 2%. But we have a concern as an institute because in the last pricing window, we're expecting prices to go up by just about 5%. But the OMCs increased prices way above what was expected on the market. I mean, some did 9%, some even did up to 11%. But we were expecting that the increments would be about around 5% because we weren't expecting it to be more than that because when you are guided by the indices that you use, that's what you're supposed to get.
All right. So let's get you to the pumps on the ground now. We're hearing that prices at the pumps have already gone up at some stations. Now, Joy Business's checks at some filling stations revealed petrol is selling for between 18 cedis and 20 cedis per gallon. the Ghana Private Road Transport Union has hinted of an imminent transport fare increase as petrol prices keep going up. Charles Aite monitored prices at some filling stations and reports.
The year began with the first pricing window seeing crude oil prices surge from 9% to 11%. In this very situation, as the second pricing window begins today, which happens to be in the very second week of January 2017, we gauge various fuel pumps as we ask car owners what exactly the situation is. Have fuel prices increased or they're still on the low side? My first stop was at a Shell filling station in Accra. Here, some car owners expressed frustration over the sudden hike in fuel prices. Their problem is why another increase barely 2 weeks when petrol prices were increased.
It has increased.
How much?
About 2 cedi.
So the very first time you bought it, how much was it?
It was 18. It was 18 for a gallon, but now it's 2 cedi.
Are you surprised by that?
It's now 20 cedi.
When you go to the fuel station, you see that the price has gone high and you need the fuel, so you can't say you won't buy it. Definitely you have to buy it.
So at first, how much were you buying and how much is it selling now?
I was buying 120 cedis every week, and now it's gone up to 130 cedis every week.
We increased, I think, last week or something. That's what I...
By how much?
I mean, it's now 4 point something. I can't, unless I look at the road. I know it was around 3, between 3, 6 or something, but now it's gone up.
Right.
Yeah.
So are you concerned?
Yeah, because actually if something is around 3.6 or 3.4 and now almost 4 points something CD per liter, you can imagine.
I think it has slightly.
At first, how much was it, and now how much are you buying for 1 gallon?
I used to be 18 cedis, but now it's somewhere around 20 cedis for a gallon.
All right, okay. So are you expecting it to be on the high side, or you are hoping that it should be on the low side?
Well, since there's a change in government, I'm hoping that it will come down. Since there will be a reduction in taxes, I'm hoping and praying that it will affect the fuel also.
All right. Meanwhile, the hike in fuel prices is expected to affect the overall pricing of goods and services. Kwame Ajapon operates a washing bay in Accra. He tells me already the hike in fuel prices has seen the cost of washing cars show up from 9 cedis as at 2016 to 10 cedis currently.
Here, the salon car is 8 cedis and the 4x4 is 10 cedis.
Has it always been that?
No, actually it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that.
How much
Before
was it?
last year, the salon car was 7 cedis and the 4x4 was 8 cedis. But now, seeing the difference, the salon car has now jumped to 8 cedis and the Land Cruiser and other stuff is now 10 cedis.
Why? Why have you increased the prices?
Actually, due to economic distance, since you see petrol, the price for fuel has gone up.
The Ghana Road Coordinating Council prepares to meet with the Transport Ministry and other stakeholders over possible increase in transport fares this year. For Joy Business, Charles Aite reporting.
We want to take you to Nigeria now, where we understand that the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, is blaming oil marketers in that country for the scarcity of kerosene, liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, and other petroleum products, leading to skyrocketing prices across that country. Now, some energy stakeholders believe the worsening fuel situation in Nigeria could have an impact on Ghana's downstream petroleum sector if adequate measures are not put in place soon. Let's get on to the phone lines now and speak with the CEO of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, Senor Hosi. Thanks for your time, Senor. And I would ask you about the situation there in Nigeria in a moment, but I want to first begin with what we are seeing here in Ghana. The second pricing window opened and prices are going up. Some pump stations have already affected those prices. Now, you are the chamber that imports petrol or fuel into the country. Tell us, I'm curious to know how much you're importing it for currently.
Thank you. Pricing is not as vanilla as you suggest, that as if there's a fixed price that we are importing it. Various importers will import it at different prices, depending
dependent on the time we are importing and the time that the windows of price their products again. So it may be the case that prices for Mr. A will be different from prices for Mr. B. But the market will largely determine how and sell one product or the other for. The increases that you see is a function of two major things: the movements in the FX rate and also the movements on the world market. In the world market, move quite significantly. I think about 6-7% in some cases. I may have to update that position as of today and then advise properly. You also have had the exchange rates also move quite appreciably. So that these two factors are heavily influencing what you're going to have at home. But there's one thing that everybody needs. The prices at the pump today are much, much lower than would have been if government was still regulating the price and probably was saying there were no subsidies. The prices you have today are much lower than that. And that's quite a good sign of the success of the new regulation policy.
So essentially, the marginal increases we are seeing now are justified?
Yes, very so the case that they are justified. I do not see any basis for any sort of market abuse by the private sector. It's purely a function of what's happening on the world market and our local currency depreciation.
All right, let's go to Nigeria now. The story for which reason we called you, really. We're hearing of a shortage of kerosene, liquefied petroleum gas, and other petroleum products. Should we be worried about the situation there in Nigeria just yet, and what could be the impact on Ghana?
Nigeria is quite a major market mover for the region as far as common logistics is concerned, and also the demand generally for the products that come this way. With what we have in Nigeria, a number of factors seem to be contributing to it. The FX situation, the accessibility to FX itself, it's been constraining a number of importers' ability to execute their function. That's one. We also have outstanding debt issues, so I think the government is trying to work with them. Like just like we have in Ghana, there used to be subsidies that were not budgeted for. But Ghana has taken the step of trying to deregulate the market significantly. They have not been able to walk that entire path. So that exposure keeps creating a certain financial risk for importers. And it's not too surprising that they have in the current situation. As what happens to us in Ghana, once there's a shock, it could be good and it could be bad at the same time. The good side of it would be it would depend on how the market moves. Vessels are moving this way. If Nigeria is going to start asking for a lot more product to fill in the shortage, then our logistics costs will go up because the vessels that are coming this way will be the same vessels that will also be chasing. So you have a lot more demand for vessels in a very short space of time, and that will impact the freight costs that we have. It will definitely affect our prices in some sense. If it's not too significant, the market is likely going to absorb it. Now, alternate situation is that once there's a shortage and Nigeria is not making any strong move to try and fill in the gap, we're going to have a lot more surplus of vessels that will be on our market, and that will either keep prices the same or lower it marginally. So that's what the market situation or implications for us in Ghana will be. But you can never say much about each stage. You just have to see how the market pans out, depending on the demand and supply of the services.
Definitely would monitor and see how things turn out. Thanks very much for your time. That was Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, Senior Hosi, speaking there on the situation in Nigeria and its impact on Ghana. Take urgent steps to revive the productive sector of the economy if the targeted growth is to be effectively achieved. That's the advice of the Chief Executive of Dalex Finance, Ken Thompson, to the new government. He was speaking in an interview with Joy Business.
The new administration has announced plans to empower the private sector to lead in the country's economic recovery agenda. As part of initiatives to achieve this goal, it has emphasized its commitment to cut taxes for businesses. Mr. Thompson, however, explains agriculture should rather be placed at the center of the agenda.
As agriculture, private sector, private sector, private sector. Create jobs and let real incomes rise. And I don't want to know about the statistics. Don't tell me about GDP because nobody knows and nobody cares. Don't tell me about deficit because nobody knows, nobody cares.
And so it's about jobs and it's about incomes in the pockets of people.
I mean, we spent the last, I don't know whether it's 6, 7, 8, 9 years, all we read about GDP grew by this, we talk about 10, we talk about Sajifo. Do we care? I don't care. I really couldn't care less. I don't care. All I care, because, you know, I sell money. If the productive sector is revived, if people have real incomes, I'll sell more money. How difficult is that?
He asked that President Akufo-Addo should clearly spell out the strategy within his first 100 days in office.
Within the first 100 days, the president should set out his stall what he wants to do and give us timelines. I don't think...
He should draw his timetable.
Yes. But 100 days is too much. I mean, how long will it take to draw a strategy? I mean, the private sector, you know, by my strategy, I'm playing in my mind what I'm going to do. They've had over 80, well, His Excellency himself has had over 30 years to think about what he wants to do. He said so many things about what he wants to do. I mean, if it takes him more than 100 days to set out what he's going to do, we don't have a problem.
The Private Enterprise Federation has indicated that if for nothing at all, they expect him to initiate the process towards review of some of the taxes they mentioned.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he can do that. I mean, but I can't. I'm not top of my head. I can't think of specifics. I myself, you know, I'm going to be sending a letter to Dr. Baomi, whoever ends the committee. I'm going to also say.
You're still watching Business Live. Let's turn focus to the banking sector, which is expected to witness a boom primarily due to the free market policy the new government intends implementing. That's the verdict of banking consultant and the head of the Osei Tutu Center for Executive Education and Research, Nana Otuo-Champong. The sector has been saddled with challenges such as non-performing loans and high lending rates. Nana Otuo-Champong, he says that he believes that there would be a turnaround, especially because of the new administration's promise to allow the private sector spearhead economic growth. This, according to him, is only a normal trend across the globe.
Globally, whenever you have a government with an economic philosophy of free market, then you notice that the markets see that prospects are good and generally they are receptive. And that's what happened to the U.S. one that you refer to, because Trump comes from the Republican Party, whose political economic philosophy is capitalism. The same way you have that in the UK. When conservatives win, you normally see market sentiments going up. So I think it's something that there's no gainsaying, you know, in referring to that. So once it's a business-friendly government, then it means that the market is appreciative, the market is happy, and they look forward to better prospects in business activity.
Okay, short break. When we come back, we'll have our interview of the day. Let's get you our interview of the day, and we bring you some views of some stakeholders over moves by government to review Ghana's IMF program.
Trust you. And that also could have implication for the IMF program, the ECF program. Yes.
And talking about the IMF program, there are proposals for the new administration to engage the fund to tweak some aspects of it. For you, do you think it's justified, or we should let sleeping dogs lie?
Well, some aspects I think can be renegotiated, particularly with regard to central bank financing. I think I've always had a view that the 0% financing is too severe, is too strict. We are a developing economy, and at least some level of injection is necessary, if only you back it with production, to reduce the impact on inflation. I'm sure the economy will be able to accommodate that. But to move from about 10-15% straight to zero will definitely going to shock the economy. And so that can be negotiated. But I do not expect that the incoming government, or I don't anticipate that the incoming government would have a comprehensive review, because if they're going to go with comprehensive review, it can have some kind.
And that's our show tonight. Thanks for watching. Of course, there's more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business.